Okay, you guys, so major, huge update. So Be Better posted a response video clocking it with James Charles. He basically exposed James Charles. Not many people have seen this video or are talking about it. So after, I'm going to play you the clip of what he said, and then I'm going to give my response to it, a real raw, honest response, podcast style. So here we go, roll it.
Hi. So there's a lot that I want to address with you guys, and I'll start by saying that the reason why I haven't addressed all of this sooner is not because I've been ignoring the situation like some people have said. It's because I've been looking into it. So for those of you that may not know what I'm talking about, in the week since my interview was posted, there have been numerous and deeply disturbing allegations made against Zach Sellers, the individual that I interviewed. Now, these are potential crimes that we're talking about, and anytime a situation is as severe as that, my last priority is going to be to jump on TikTok and performatively make a video distancing myself, which seems to be what people wanted me to do. Instead, I have been spending the past week speaking to the victims, gathering as much information as I can to ensure that I have a full picture of what happened so I can speak as accurately as possible. So in this video, I'm going to try and address everything from the narratives that have been circulating online, as well as the many lies that James Charles said in his response video, and then in the end, everything to do with the allegations made against Zach Sellers. So I want to start by addressing the narrative that is honestly the most hurtful to me, which is that I did this interview for attention or financial gain, or to monetize the horrific trauma experienced by Kayla. So I just want to be clear about the facts. I invested my own money from my own pocket in producing this interview, knowing full well it would be a financial loss to me, purely because I felt it was a story, and still very much feel it is a story, that the world deserved to know, in which one of the biggest influencers on the planet is a now self-admitted abuse enabler. Number two, the small amount of money that was made from the interview, I believe it was about $1,500, was already donated to a domestic violence charity called No More. I learned about them during the Blake Lively case, and it was donated in Kayla's name, and that was my plan from the very beginning. In addition to that, the only reason this interview existed in the first place is because it was a story that Kayla wanted the world to know. And had it not been for her direct involvement, for her blessing and her encouragement, I never would have done the interview in the first place, and if at any point in time she changed her mind, I would have pulled the plug on the entire thing. And lastly, I just want to remind people that the first words out of my mouth in that interview was reminding the audience to pause and please watch Kayla's videos first, and make sure that I was redirecting all of the attention back toward her, and ensuring that the audience understood that everything we were about to speak to obviously came in second to her story. So I want to underscore the social significance of this story and why I ultimately reject the narrative that this is just TikTok drama. So in every case of abuse, there is the person that commits the abuse, and there's someone who enables it. Sometimes it's a friend who turns a blind eye. Sometimes it's a coworker who notices a bruise and doesn't say anything. And sometimes it's the biggest influencer on the planet named James Charles Dickinson, who by his own omission was explicitly told from his friend that she, quote, experienced the worst things a human being has ever experienced, and that she was abused. And the word abuse was in fact used. His response to that, by his own admission, was to say, "Can I have him now?" And then proceed to develop a friendship with him and fly him to his home for 4 nights after, by multiple witness accounts, he was flirting with him, sexually attracted to him, pursuing him even when Kayla and Evan were still together. And now, after his reputation is what it is, being a liar and a self-admitted child predator, was arrogant enough to make a video screaming at the camera like a petulant child having a temper tantrum, as if it was completely absurd that people believed that there was sexual undertones of their friendship. So one of the many lies said by James Charles in his response video was his reasoning as to why he didn't speak sooner, which was he was so worried that a TikTok video he made could negatively impact the outcome for Kayla. Now, the reason why this is untrue is because there was no trial between Kayla Malik and Evan Johnson. There was a sentencing hearing between the Crown and Evan Johnson in which charges were pressed and in which he pled guilty to. So there was no jury, there was no ongoing trial, and the idea that anything James Charles said in a TikTok video was going to be used is completely untrue and was a clever way for him to deflect the real reason as to why he didn't address all of this, which is that he was caught red-handed. Now, there was a very obvious logical contradiction made in James's response video, which was the way he attempted to absolve himself was by minimizing the friendship he had with Kayla, by saying, I didn't really know her that well. But then the follow-up question to that would be, if you didn't know Kayla that well, then how well could you have possibly known Evan Johnson, someone who you only knew through Kayla? And the implication is you actually didn't know him at all. He was a stranger to you. Yet you still believed him over her, gave him advice, flew him to your home, lied to Kayla when she asked you if he's at your house, and one of the worst aspects, in my opinion, was you actually weaponized the information that Kayla confided in you with when she said, I experienced horrific things, and I'm putting together a 30-part Who the F Did I Marry series on the abuse I suffered, screenshotted that, and sent it to Evan as a way to exploit the vulnerability and anxiety he felt over Kayla coming forward with the horrific abuse that she suffered, and then offering yourself as a shoulder to cry on because we all know you want to get in his pants. James also lied in his video when he announced to 50 million people that he was actively pursuing legal action, yet never filed anything. I found this a little bizarre because it's been weeks now, and he could have easily already filed a bare bones legal complaint that could have been amended or withdrawn later, but he didn't. And I believe the reason he didn't is that he never actually intended to, and instead was using it as a scare tactic so people stop speaking out against him. And I think James knows what a lawsuit entails, and if we look at what he is truly denying, and out of the entirety of all the allegations, the single solitary minute detail that he denies is that him and Evan Johnson ever ended up having sex. So if that is what the defamation suit is circulating around, the first thing that is going to be looked into during the discovery process is whether or not there were any sexual undertones between their interactions. And I think that is number one, the very reason why he will not file a lawsuit, because he definitely has something to hide. If he didn't, he wouldn't be scared of the discovery process and having all of his messages entered into the public record through subpoenas. And number two, it's also the reason why in his response video, he didn't include any messages between him and Evan Johnson, which would have easily proven his innocence. Now, the allegations regarding Zach Sellers are completely disgusting. And I immediately confronted him the second that I saw Devin's video, to which he did not respond, and I've not heard from him since, which isn't really screaming innocent. I would be dishonest if I sat here and said that these allegations don't add a layer of complexity to this entire ordeal. I also can't tell you that I'm surprised that the individual who was always the best friend of Evan Johnson, someone who almost unalived Kayla, ended up having a shady past. What I can say I'm completely shocked by and have lost sleep over is the sheer stupidity that went into the decision to jump at the chance to sit down for an interview with me, in which the subject matter revolved around James Charles, someone who is historically and infamously condemned for messaging minors, in which Zach very well knew he had possibly engaged in the same behavior in his past. I don't understand the psychology that went into that. I don't understand that he likely presumably thought that this wouldn't come out. It is a complete mystery to me. If you are someone who is a victim of Zach Sellers, please email me your story and your information and your evidence, as I am personally compiling a document of all the allegations and bringing it to law enforcement, which is where these allegations belong. There was absolutely no way for me to have known that these allegations existed beforehand, and the purpose of the interview was not to platform him, but to extract information, which is exactly what I did. And I'm glad to say that his TikTok account has now been banned. And for those of you saying I am a grifter, despite the fact that I've never made $1 from my content, and that this type of content does not benefit my business in any way, I just want to say that I do this as a hobby. I enjoy investigating things, which is why I'm going to continue doing that, and I do not see it as my job to infantilize my audience. I trust their intelligence, and I trust their ability to view information and to extract their own logical conclusions from it.
Yes.
Did you hear
100%.
that? Did you hear that? What it said?
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk about the Be Better video I just saw. Why is it? This is just me. Why is it that he I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Why is Be Better trying to go after Zach Sellers, which in my opinion is just like like such a small fry, and not James Charles? Whenever Be Better said, "I want if you're a victim of Zach Sellers, please message me," and yada yada yada. And I was thinking, like, why not say if you're a victim of James Charles, please message me? That's where I'm stuck at. That's where I'm stuck at. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I just feel like he has such bigger fish to fry. Why focus on him? That's my opinion. Your thoughts,
Okay,
please.
so these are my thoughts. I think that because everybody's already going after James, I think that it's important. Okay, so if you look at like the three heads right now, right? You have Zach Sellers, James Charles, Evan Johnson. Okay, the three-headed beast right now. Okay, James Charles, Kayla put the nail in the coffin for him. There is no recovering from that. Did you see his apology?
Yeah, it was like,
On the yeah, you made a video. Okay, yeah, you did. So you're caught up. Okay, so James Charles done, and his audience finally waking up. The comments have not switched up since he posted that thing, and everybody's calling out that you can edit Instagram messages. So everybody's already accusing him of editing the messages. Anyways, okay, James Charles done. Evan Johnson, he's locked up. He's not gonna get out. Everyone's saying he's free, he's free. He is locked up. That man has somebody posting for him. That's already been confirmed. That's done. Now Zach Sellers, right? If Be Better looks around, there's only one direction in which he can make it right, if that makes sense, in my brain, right?
uh
His only choice is to go after Zach Sellers. And the fact that people are accusing him of this, I think that it's equally important for him to confirm, investigate, and do all that. Because if let's just say hypothetically, right, that 2 weeks from now it comes out that Zach Sellers is being sued like in a civil lawsuit for doing all these things to underage people, let's just say that. If Be Better did not do his due diligence and actually investigate that just the same way he did with James and Evan Johnson, it's gonna look bad on Be Better. And as it is, Be Better has already had that like name stain from what I saw in the comments. They said that Be Better is notorious for being on the wrong side of things. So that's just how I'm processing that.
Well, if that's the case, this is my opinion again. If that's the case, he's doing it again by being on the wrong side. He needs to go after James Charles' ass, and not fucking Zach Seller. Zach Seller, really? No, I'm not saying like. Listen, I've seen the videos where people are calling Zach Sellers a pedo. I've seen it. I'm not blind.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. But if I would want my claim to fame be taking down James Charles, not taking down Zach Sellers. If and that's watering it down to like bare bones minimum of how
Yeah,
someone can see it. It's like, do you want to really go after Zach Sellers, who's like honestly, I'm not really circle, but no one really knows him. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm trying to say. Is like to go for the bigger name.
that makes sense.
Is that and not only that, but Zach Sellers already got ran off the internet.
Yeah, well, didn't his account get hacked and now he's like done?
He's like ran off the internet, and it's like, okay, what is that noise?
I don't know, that's you.
Oh, that's probably a connection issue.
Oh, maybe.
But he already got ran off the internet, and I'm just saying, if you're doing this for notoriety and you want to be known for staying on the right side of things, I would just be like, it's like I'm trying to put it in a way that everyone can understand because you know how people can twist things up.
Yes.
What I'm trying to say is this: which is the lesser of two evils?
Okay, and can I ask you a question before you go into your statement?
hmm
Are you letting your hatred for James Charles cloud your judgment?
That's something Grok would say. And because I was having a conversation with Grok about Manny MUA, and it said the same thing, and I was like, no, but is there confirmation biased? I'm removing that out of it. I'm removing confirmation bias, all bias aside. It's coming from a place of like James Charles has more power than Zach Sellers. So therefore, James Charles could affect more people.
I
So
feel okay, and this is just me,
it's just a waste of
okay?
time. It's just a waste of
It
time.
is.
Fucking
It is, but I
Zach
think
Seller.
it is a waste of time. I agree with you. I think that people are already coming for James Charles. Did you see that one I sent you earlier? That one kid who was the 14-year-old?
Oh, I already made a YouTube video about it. It's up right
Poor
now on my
guy.
YouTube.
Dude, poor kid, man. Like, I feel like he said, he goes, he's so young, and he said, he ruined my career.
Like I'm on
Like,
top of this. Like I'm on top of this. Like I feel
oh,
like
girl, we
I
know.
feel like I'm behind on it, but I've been putting out video after video after video after video after
Because
video.
so much comes out by the second. There were so many people involved. James does not let up. The second that somebody responds, like, he's so quick to, oh, let me put out a statement. Let me put out the receipts. Let me put out this.
No,
Like, he's
no.
just
Let's talk about this.
too quick.
Oh, I'm at Marshalls right now. Master
Oh,
Chef.
getting crazy in
Yeah,
Marshalls.
right. Here's the thing. James Charles responded in a text note apology. He typed that up and put it on his Snapchat story or Instagram story or TikTok story. Why not make a video? Make a video
Because
saying that. Like, what the
he
F?
already made the video. That's why.
And then let's dissect this. In James Charles' text message apology, it seemed like he was going after Zach Sellers too.
Okay, you know what? We can start there.
No,
I
and
I
Zach,
love that you're
I'm telling you, Zach Sellers is gonna end his life. I'm telling you this right now. I'm telling you this. I feel it.
Oh
I
my
feel it.
God.
I feel it. I feel like Zach Sellers is gonna be like, I got James Charles coming for me, and he has a past. I got Be Better switched up on me, and he's coming for me. The house. I thought we were cool. And I was texting him, and then it's like damn, I'm telling you, and then I got my account taken down. The world hates me. Like this is all new to Zach. Like, Zach Sellers is new to this. He isn't like a veteran where you call me something and I'm like, girl, whatever, f off. This is not normal Tuesday for me. Whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I hope that's not the case, but I do feel
okay,
like,
go ahead. Yeah, let's talk about
okay,
Zach Sellers. Go.
well, not just Zach Sellers. I feel like with James, what really, I think I commented on a video. I literally said that I hate that James is trying to put Zach in front of him to like redirect who's in the wrong. You know what I mean?
Everyone's
Like, I
pointing
feel like he's
fingers.
using, yeah, like, and it's just weird to me because out of everybody in the situation, James is the worst one. Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah, to
again,
me, yeah.
too,
It's
like,
like, well, you're wrong. Well, you're more wrong than me. It seems like who has the biggest dick put on the table. It's not about that to me. It's not about that to me.
it's not, but what to me, what that tactic, that that was very strategic, and that was to me, that wasn't even James. That is his team behind him saying, "Hey, put him in front of you. Make sure you're still throwing out his name because you can't have all of this settle on you." Like if it's like split, even though it's not 50-50, he didn't mention Be Better, right? I don't think he did. James didn't mention Be Better in his little thing.
No,
Um,
no.
he
See, no,
pinned
let
it
me tell you what. Let me
all
tell you
on
what. Let me
James.
tell you
Yeah,
about
he
James.
pinned it all on Zach.
Let me tell you about this. James Charles, I can guarantee you, is 100% shook with Be Better. Like, Be Better and James Charles, they're like,
Shook.
it's like Charizard and Blastoise. And
Oh
literally,
yes.
I think James Charles met his match, especially when Zach Sellers is already off the internet. But Be Better said, I don't make money from this. I'm not monetized.
Mm-hmm.
I do this as a hobby. When you meet someone that does this amount of work just because they're bored and it's fun for them and they don't make no profit off of it, James Charles was shook. Like,
Well, here's the next thing. Okay. Be Better, right? Called his bluff because when James
yes,
Charles said, "I
yes.
will be taking," I no, let me put the voice on. I will be taking legal action. Like the second he said that, he couldn't. The funniest thing is that he could not. And Be Better called it out. They're going to have to investigate if there were sexual undertones in those messages. And you cannot tell me that there were not. Because what would prompt you to fly somebody out to LA to come and hang out with you just to watch movies for 4 days straight? That's crazy.
Well, not even,
And
it's not even to put him in a campaign. Like it would
Yeah,
make
exactly.
sense to fly him out. I just left Marshall's. It would make more sense to fly him out and put him in a promotional campaign, but he didn't even do that.
Listen, I know someone very close to me because I know this is a recorded call. I know somebody very close to me. I will not name names. They never let people come over and stay at their house. They put them in a hotel. And you're gonna tell me James Charles couldn't put Evan Johnson in a hotel? You had to come and fly him and have him stay at your house? Like what? I don't know. Is that just
Hmm.
me? Am I crazy? Because if you fly me out and I'm gonna stay at your house, there's always an undertone, like unless we're best friends. And again, Evan Johnson would not have known James Charles had it not been for Kayla. So what were you really flying him out there for? And if you guys were having more messages, because again, the messages that James Charles posted are allegedly all of the messages that they've ever had. So if that's the case, where are the messages where, hey, is that you?
Yeah, I'm losing connection, but keep
Oh,
going.
okay. If James Charles is going off of those messages that he posted with Evan Johnson, where did the messages go and where did it turn to, hey, come over, please come over and let me, just come relax, come put your feet up, I'll order us food. You don't have to worry about nothing. Where are those messages at? Because how did we get from those dry ass messages to all of a sudden now you're flying him out for 4 days? Where did that come from? That's what I'm confused
And
about.
well, you don't have to be confused because James Charles didn't want to disclose the text messages between him and Evan Johnson and did not want
Mm-hmm.
to disclose what really went down for those 3 days. That's what he's protecting. He's so caught up in I had sex with Evan Johnson that he did or didn't. That's what he was going to sue for, defamation of that part. Was apparently, according to Zach Sellers, they just jacked off.
Wow. It's honestly so wild to me that James is putting Zach Sellers, like, I think, you know what it is? I think James is trying to make Zach Sellers the bad guy for exposing what really happened in those 4 days. Not so much about the relationship between him and Evan, but just so much about what they actually
Like,
did.
how dare you
You know what I
speak
mean?
out? How dare you speak out? And
Yes,
then,
and that's the
but
weirdest
no,
part
and
to
then you,
me.
what I don't understand is how come James Charles doesn't have that same energy for Be Better? Like, how dare you
Hmm.
try to attempt to take me down? Like, I find that
Well,
interesting too. But because
because Be Better, he clocked it. He literally said, James Charles just, I called James Charles bluff. He wasn't threatening legal action because if he did, he would have already stopped me. It's been weeks at this point. There has been plenty of time. James Charles' team could have sent a cease and desist that girl that next Monday. If this happened on a Saturday, I'm sure Monday, 8 a.m., I'm sure that that letter was already drafted. This was so detrimental to James Charles' career. If it was that important and if
damn,
it was inaccurate, he would have had it 8 a.m. the next morning.
yeah,
You don't think so? I think so. I
I
think James would have paid his team
if
overtime.
if
I'm
I
pretty
was
sure that that team's getting paid overtime right now.
if I was James Charles, I literally would be like, yeah, I hooked up with Evan Johnson. I mean, he's of age. I flew him out. I thought he was hot, and we linked like that. It went down.
And you
Like
know what's crazy?
why
Kayla
hard that
said,
he wait hold on but he's of age and I'm of age. We're two consenting adults. What's the tea? Like I don't get that. Like keep it real.
well, the T, Kayla
No,
clocked it. And it's,
hold on. What if James Charles admits that they hooked up? Then there's some other guy, other men. I'm like, we were together and you cheated on me.
oh my
Mm.
God.
Mm. Okay, go ahead.
Kayla said, because I saw something that said, like, is Kayla mad that James took her man? That's not the case. It's the fact that Kayla told James Charles about the abuse, right? And James Charles said, oh, well, girl, that's what this entire thing is about. It's about the fact that James Charles is an enabler. He's an abuse enabler, exactly like Be Better said. Like that's the entire reason that we're even here and why James is getting so much hate is not because he went and hooked up with Evan Johnson. To be honest, I think that Kayla would have cheered him on and been happy for Evan Johnson and said, "Hey, live your life, bestie." But guess what? That's not what
Nice burp.
happened. Evan abused her, and now James Charles is over here flying him out. Where
It
is that okay?
And if you already flew him out and he stayed at your house, just put the icing on the cake already and say y'all hooked up. Like that doesn't make
Yeah,
it
it doesn't
any
make any sense.
doesn't make any better or any worse. It doesn't make it any better or any worse. Just say I went, yeah, we hooked up. Might as well. Cat's out of the bag. Why are you trying to do damage control? You're a gay guy. You said multiple times you thought he was hot. I seen the text messages when Kayla shared them on her video. So, but this is not like some. It, a lot of people have pieced this together in the DMs about what's going on with what they think happened with James Charles and Zach Sellers and Evan Johnson. Everybody knows this already. I don't know why James Charles continues to want to like minimize the damage. Like, just y'all hooked up, bro. Just say that. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. What's her face already exposed it in
Well,
her
it's not
text
just about the
messages.
fact that
If
they
you
hooked up.
piece it together, any judge, any person with a freaking brain cell would say, okay, so you thought he was hot, you were sexually attracted to him. Here are the text messages proving it. And Kayla's video, boom, boom, boom. You flew him out, paid for his ticket, and I'm invested. He flew him coach. Didn't even fly him first class. He flew him coach. I saw the ticket. He flew him coach. You picked him up from the airport. Oh, let me tell you something. When I fly people out, I send them a car. I'm not gonna be bothered. I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
be fucking bothered driving to the airport. You know how stressful that is and time consuming
Mm-hmm.
going to the airport? No. Fuck
Now.
no. I remember one time when there was this Morphe party and it was Jeffree Star X Morphe, and I got invited to the party. I got flown out first class by Morphe, and I had a car pick me up, a black SUV with my name on
Mm-hmm.
it. The guy holding a sign said Rich Luck. I didn't have Jeffree Star pick me up from the airport. No.
Jeffree
What
Star
is
would
going
never.
on? Time is money. Time is money.
Mm-hmm.
And James Charles is slipping. James Charles needs to be pumping out videos, getting his Mr. Beast style on. If I was James Charles, I literally would be putting my energy into creating studios to film out of and rent out, like Tyler Perry studio type vibe, Mr. Beast type studios that you can rent out for movies, TV shows, and other influencers to film at. Not wasting my time with Evan Johnson, a little 6-inch dick. Girl, who cares? James Charles needs a hobby. He needs to put like more time into what he's doing. And he met his match with Be Better. I'm gonna title this video James Charles versus Be Better, because James Charles met his match with Be Better right here, right now. Mm-hmm. Because I'll get up. I mean, you know me, I have no problem getting on camera and saying, yeah, I do this for the money. Hell yeah. Let's milk it for views. Do me dirty. I'm going to drop 10 videos back to back to back to back and then a whole docu-series about it. I'm going to milk it for everything it's got and sell merch. I have no issue saying that. Been doing it for 10 years. How I stay alive, how I pay the bills. For Be Better, get on camera. For Be Better, get on camera and say, yeah, I just do that as a hobby. What? Oh, shit. James Charles is cooked. But
I
again,
was just gonna say.
but again, you know, we're cold. Then again, why put so much energy into Zach Sellers? Why not put that same energy into James Charles? That's the part that doesn't make any sense, because James Charles already admitted to talking to underage guys. That video is on YouTube. He admitted it.
Mm-hmm.
James Charles already admitted to talking to that girl's boyfriend and flew him out. And also, not to mention the comment section that was like, when James Charles said, hey, do you want to be in a campaign, you and your boyfriend? You already knew they were broken up from behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And then James Charles never showed any text messages between him and uh, Evan Johnson. Not one text message did we see. Because if
Well,
we
you know what's
did,
so funny? Or the transition off the app. There's always a transition message from the app to your phone number.
Snapchat, Snapchat,
And we
Snapchat, Snapchat.
or Snap, but we haven't seen that.
Because you know why? Because we would see, hey, daddy, let me bend it wide over, bust it open for you. Shake that ass, ho. Shake that ass, ho. When can I fly you out? You want to do something strange for a little bit of change? And then Net's not, this is what everyone's glossing over. The fact that Evan Johnson had a OF, only blue
Mhm.
page, only, you know,
And so
spice.
does James. Confirmed.
No, but it was like, if I can get him to do an OF and sell me photos on OF, it won't look that bad if it comes out to the public. Dude, James Charles could have easily found him an OF model who was down to fly out for the weekend and have fun. Just do that.
But it's not, I don't know. I think that he needs a little bit of the chase. He's already said before when in his earlier years, his biggest mistake is that he talks too much. I'm sorry. We already know James Charles likes straight men. That's like never been a secret,
Straight
right?
man.
He
Okay,
likes
let me
to
tell
be.
you, T on straight man, because you're a biological woman. When it comes to straight men and gay men dating, you're it's you'll always be the secret. You'll
Mhm.
never be invited to the cook-off or the Christmas
Christmas.
party. You'll just be the other man that no one knows about, the secret woman, the secret life. The same thing for trans women. Trans women are always the secret to these straight men. And once you figure that out at a young age, you'll be like, you know what? I'm not going to waste my time with this.
Mhm.
Because then you catch feelings. Unless you just go into it with, it is what it is. I already know what's up. You know what's up. Let's go ahead and link 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. You can't get none at the club. Zach Sellers was never, I'm sorry, Evan Johnson was never going to get some badass punani. Never. He's broke. He's broke. Anger problems, narcissistic tendencies, way too many. No, scrawny.
Oh, you know what else? The narcissist comment. Um, because my only thing with that can kind of back it up a little bit is that Evan already knew. Everybody knows who James Charles is, right?
Mhm.
Everybody knows that he's the guy in makeup, right? We already know that. Evan could have also been messaging James Charles to get him on his side over Kayla's because that's just what narcissists do, right? They
Mhm.
try and take all your friends. My whole thing is my biggest issue with James is that James tried to play victim too and say, Evan manipulated me too. Girl,
Uh-huh. No.
please.
You're
And
26
guess
years
what?
old. How old is
When that
Evan
didn't,
Johnson? 20, 21?
I think he's like 21. But it's funny because when that narrative didn't work, then you would go ahead and put it on Zach Sellers. Because that first narrative of he manipulated me too, it didn't fly. It didn't fly with Kayla. It didn't fly with the audience. So guess what? They completely shelved that idea.
Oh. I feel like James Charles doing this text message apology was like it was a bad move.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the white flag. Put up the white flag. And then to not even mention be better in it was a slap in the face. I would be surprised if James Charles and Be Better had a conversation behind the scenes. And James Charles was like, you need to stay out of this. You don't want none of this. And then Be Better was like, whatever. I do what I want. Fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like there are bigger fishes to fry than Zach Sellers. And I'm not saying that what he did or didn't do was right because it needs to be proven in court. Because if I feel like somebody trapped me in their penthouse and locked me in there and forced me to eat food court food, I would I would go to the police for being kidnapped. I wouldn't go on TikTok and make videos about it. If
Exactly.
so, these people who are coming forward about Zach Sellers, y'all need to go to the police. Don't go to TikTok and make a video about it. Oh, he
Well, not just
touched
Zach
me.
Sellers, but
He
even
t-
James Charles.
No, look at
Somebody
Cassie.
said
Look
like,
at Cassie. I found this out today. Cassie Ventura, she got $10 million from the Intercontinental Hotel a week ago. Nobody knew about it till today because she was
mm-hmm,
forced to say that in court. She didn't go to TikTok and complain about it.
mm-hmm.
This is everybody. While everybody who's hearing this, if an influencer touches you inappropriately, you need to go immediately to the police. Don't go to TikTok.
Well, no, and that's realistically what it is. If you come to TikTok and you leave it to the court of public opinion, you're always going to be remembered for that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like Lucas, right? Lucas was just talking about this entire thing that happened with Louis and Adam Ray okay, but now all of a sudden the narrative has switched because somebody exposed the video that he was where he was with the nurse, right?
Yeah.
He came up here instead of going just to the authorities, and now he's going to be remembered like that forever.
Who?
The Lucas, the guy that came after Adam Ray and Louis.
Oh, yeah. Lucas a liar.
See? You see what I mean? Like he should have just went to the authorities, handled it privately,
And then come out and
and
talk about it.
exactly.
Well,
He can't say
here's
anything
how you
until
do
the
it.
paper's signed.
Here's how you do it. You go to the authorities first, then you go to criminal court, and then you go to civil court, and then you talk about it. Boom, boom, boom.
I
That's
just
how you
still
do it.
think that this whole situation, there's just been so much that's happened back to back to back to back to back. Nobody gives you a break, I swear.
Oh, I got a break. I got my break because I got banned off TikTok from going live
What?
for a week.
No
And I
way.
was just playing Kayla Malik's video.
Wait, pause, hold on.
Mm-hmm. So I'll be off live TikTok for a week.
All
But
right, I'm
I'm still
back.
making my TikTok videos every day and my YouTube videos every day. So drop a like, leave a comment.
Y'all can find me on
And
TikTok
I
at
want Be
Pink
Better to
Scorpio
talk more
888.
about James Charles. Please be better. Please talk more about James Charles. All right. Bye, guys. Bye.